I'm Scott Potter, the Director of Metro Water Services in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm a 1986 graduate of Vanderbilt University with a degree in electrical engineering. The key thing there is preparation and making sure that the information you have is correct and accurate. And it also makes sense, because if it's not accurate, you lose credibility. And if you lose credibility, you're done. So it has to be accurate. That's a spectacular question, and it goes to one of the fundamental criticisms about engineers and their perceived inability to explain complex things clearly. So what I do is I just say how it's going to affect them and what they need to do to help us to get through this crisis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to tell y'all what has happened, what the current situation is, and what we're doing to correct the problem. Like the mayor said, this is the affected area. We're already starting to see a little bit of improvement to the water service availability levels in the area, and that will continue to improve provided everyone cooperates with my request to not irrigate, especially this evening. A lot of folks have automatic sprinkler systems in their yards in this area, so I'm asking everyone to go out and turn them off tonight and leave them off until we get this permanent repair, because we've done some fixes that are temporary in effect that I'll show you in just a minute that will help us recover the system. But if we don't have the irrigation systems turned off, then that will be a problem. I want to show you what the current situation is and why we're in this situation, what happened.
And the key thing there is have a diagram, have a picture, have a visual aid where people can see what you're talking about. Because if you have the map and you can point to this intersection, people know where that is. And you can say, this is what you're going to see here. So I said, you're going to see a pump. So when people are driving down Franklin Road, as an example, and they see something on the side of the road, if they watch that broadcast, they'll say, oh, okay, that's what he's talking about.
This is Thompson Lane Pump Station here. It's beside the Home Depot, the Walmart, the CarMax across from Hunter Oaks Mall. The discharge pipe from that pump station failed. It's a 30-inch pipe, and it broke this morning. And the reason that's significant is this pump station feeds all the blue pump stations you see on the map in the affected area. So since this pump station is affected, all the downstream pump stations don't have water to pump. So that's why we're in this problem. So until we get that pipe fixed, these pump stations will have reduced availability of water to pump to the higher elevated areas. So what we're doing to correct that in the meantime, while we're effecting repair, the permanent repair, here's the location of the break. This green section right here is a temporary pump that we're going to install, and this green area right here is a temporary pump we're going to install. And then these blue dots right here are valves that we're opening from this pressure zone to feed the affected area from this side of the city this way. This pump station will feed from this side of the city this way, and this pump station will feed from the north part this way. So we have 3 temporary feeds coming into the affected area. So that reinforces my statement that if people will not irrigate tonight and only use water for cooking, bathing, and drinking, then we should be good to go.
So the visual side of it and presenting what people are going to see, I think is key. If you just verbalize it, that goes a little ways, but if you can give a picture or a photograph, diagram, it makes a lot more sense. Whenever I'm speaking in public about a technical issue, I try to speak in a way that I'm explaining it to my mom, because my mom's a really smart person. She's not an engineer, but she understands when people's trying to tell her something that doesn't make sense. So if I can explain it to her so she understands it, then everyone else understands it as well. The key thing there is she can tell immediately if I'm trying to dance, and she'll call me on it.
We've got one pump station here at Estes Road at the intersection of Winmont and Estes that still is feeding this pump station. This service area, it's just not as, it doesn't have the same capacity as Thompson Lane. So we do have water going in, we just don't have the same volume. So that's why we need to have the use go down so we can balance it out a little bit better.
Yeah, but once you get this temporary thing up, is it going to work long-term until we get another long-term solution?
Well, we're going to repair this pipe. And then, like I said, the redundant transmission main coming out of the pump station is in the capital plan, and we'll look at accelerating that since we have a history of failure on it now.
Realistically, how long will that take
Will what take?
to the long-term plan?
The long-term plan.
No, to fix the pipe that broke.
Okay,
Pipe that broke.
we've got to get the pipe replacement piece in town first. We've got to get the site excavated. As you can well imagine, the ground is pretty well saturated, so it's going to take a little bit of time to excavate it safely. And then once we get the pipe in, it takes about 24 hours to replace it, and then we've got to test it. And then we've got to work with TDEC to make sure that we have our testing protocols in line properly. But so it'll take several days. I really don't know exactly how long it's going to take. That's why we're focusing on the short-term fix right now to ensure we maintain service. So once we get the irrigation knocked out and the temporaries in, we should be pretty good to go.
And then you'll focus on the long-term solution?
The long-term solution being the installation of the new main, yes.
One thing I've observed is when people are out of water, it's an emotional reaction. It's not just an inconvenience. It all goes back to establish credibility, demonstrate that you know what you're doing, execute what you say you're going to do, and then report back.
We're going to do this again tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and I'll tell you where we are. But really, for the next couple of days, I would ask people just to not irrigate, because I think that's smart. And it's really, it's not going to be as hot in the next couple of days as it could be in July. So I'm just asking people to just shut them off for a while, and then maybe we can accelerate the repair.
We don't do anything at Metro Water Services unless it's prepared, because it's too important, and if we mess it up, it's bad. And it's our role to make sure while we're fixing the problem, we tell everybody what we're doing to fix the problem. That way they can be assured that we're going down a good path.